Okay, I think I'm live. So, hey everybody, welcome to the Saturday meditations and chats. Please let me know if this is working. I'm never sure about these things, so I'm dependent on your feedback. All right, so it's Saturday, January 21st. No, it's not the 21st. It's what? 23rd, 2021. So I don't know if anybody's online. Is anybody online? Francesca is there. Okay. All right. Great. So it's working. I'm sorry. How many? I'm not really certain how to work with these YouTube lives. I tried scheduling it, and then somehow it requires certain software that I don't have. So I'm starting over with just live scheduling or live streaming, whatever it's called. So if someone was expecting to come on a scheduled call and that's not working, then please find your way here. All right. So today, seems to me like we're going through a planetary death rebirth process. And, it's been going on. We've been preparing for this for some time. What does that mean? What does death mean? What does rebirth mean? And I think these are key questions so that we can participate in this more consciously. So it's not just going through a transition from one thing to another, it's a transmutation. It's what does mutation mean? It's a biological process, just like the mutation of a caterpillar into a butterfly. You can't ever go back to caterpillarship. And I think that's kind of where we are now. We're going through a mutation of our human design in such a way that we can't go back anymore. So it's a momentous event. What does it mean that we can't go back? We have based our lives on certain structures that we take for granted, that are familiar, that we identify with, which are part of what makes us human. What if all those begin to fall away? What if everything that we've known that makes us human begins to collapse? And perhaps that's the place we find ourselves, where everything that we've known, that we trust in, that we believe in, is no longer true. So there's two different realities coexisting. One is the reality that we can see. This is the reality going on around us, politically, economically, socially, that we pick up through our senses, that we participate in with the mind. That's one reality. Another reality is invisible. This is the reality that's going on within the cells of our body. And it's hard to fully understand what that means, because the mind cannot go there. The body has its own awareness, its own consciousness, and that's independent of the mind. So Sri Aurobindo and the Mother spoke about this quite a bit. Mother talks about the mutation of death, the mutation of the body, the entering into the structures of death, entering into the underworld. How do we do that? Obviously, the mind cannot enter there. There's a consciousness within the cells that knows the way. And increasingly, this is the consciousness that we are learning to trust. So, so some of you are just joining in. So welcome. Hi, Mahalakshmi. Good morning. Yeah, if just introduce yourselves, where you're from, if you like. Any questions that you have, any way that you would like to interact, please do, because I don't intend to make this a monologue. So we're talking about the mutation of death, entering into the cauldron of that huge mystery, which we see, or at least the mind sees, as the end, and learning to experience that as a new beginning. We can only do so if this aspect of the mind that believes in death falls away. And I have been feeling that everything that's been going on in the world right now, everything that's happening politically, everything that we're experiencing through the lockdowns, all our fears that are rising to the surface, all the conflicts that are being projected onto each other, this illusion of duality that's controlled our human existence for so many thousands of years, it's all coming to the surface. It's all being confronted, and it's all being transmuted. Okay, Kayla. Mahalakshmi is asking, why were we taught to neglect our body during the spiritual journey? Absolutely, that's the question, and that's a conditioning, a spiritual conditioning that actually gets in the way of this journey. If there's a question about why this was, it may be because it wasn't time yet. In earlier spiritual ages, we were refining the connection between the worlds, between the different bodies. So we are refining the pathways through which Kundalini channels upwards. And now that's done. And now we have to build the channels through which Kundalini can flow downwards. So it's the difference between ascension and descension. It's the difference between evolution and involution. These are happening simultaneously. You can't say that one is more important than the other. But up until now, we were not ready. The earth was not ready. Human consciousness was not ready for the full embodiment of spiritual consciousness in the field of matter. Matter itself is being transformed. So Sri Aurobindo speaks about moving from physical matter into true matter. That's our journey, and this is the most difficult, the most dangerous, and the most unknown of all journeys, because it's never been done, and this is what makes it so difficult. The unfamiliarity. We are pioneers in this journey, but it begins with just recognizing what this journey is about, and that this journey is really about entering in to our bodies fully, entering in to matter, entering into the earth. So rather than seeing our bodies, rather than seeing the earth as something less than, or inferior, or not important, or an illusion, we're seeing this as ultimate beauty and the ultimate goal of consciousness, to create a vehicle through which it can express itself fully. All the diversity, all the power, all the beauty of consciousness being expressed in the multifaceted, multidimensional multi-sensual experience of embodiment. So we see the one in the midst of the many. We become the many while we remain the one. And this is the dance of creation. This is the dance of Shiva. So for the first time in our human evolutionary cycle, we are now preparing for this. And I've talked with many of you about what's going on in the world, the view behind the scenes, behind what seems to be going on politically, what seems to be going on in the external world. And all of that is important, but what I'd like to focus on now is the other side of it. The whole world out there is also in here. Everything that could ever happen in the world external to us has already happened inside us. And that's the nature of consciousness. Consciousness is multidimensional, multifaceted, and it's outside of linear time. So things play out in linear time in the external world of 3D consciousness. But on a different level, it's already been done. It's already been done in a way that we can recognize and access. And as we do so, we can actually bring about that which we dream, that which we wish to create. So if we wish to create a new earth, on a new foundation, where there is no duality, then we also have to enter into the mystery of death. Because part of what keeps us locked in duality is the illusion of death. So there's a passage I'd like to read from this book. It's called Mother, the Mutation of Death. And it's written by Sat Prem, and he spent many, many years with the mother. If you don't know who she is, the mother is a French lady who ended up living in Pondicherry, India, as a spiritual partner of a mystic and yogi named Sri Aurobindo, who originally fought for Indian independence and freedom, later became a yogi, experiencing extremely high states of consciousness, and together they then paved the way for a new consciousness emerging on this earth, a new species evolving from the human species, and even Gaia herself entering a new cycle of evolution. Okay, so there's a question from Mahalakshmi. A beautiful explanation, thanks. Did Ramalinga Adigalar embody this fully? Oh, that's a great question. So Ramalinga Swami, many of you may have heard of him. And there's others, that many Tibetan masters as well, who take the rainbow body, who simply dissolve into light. Now, what happens when this happens? So what happens to the physical body? What happens to the soul? And the way I look at it is that this is really where we're moving towards as a human species. We're dissolving our body into light, but at the same time, we're bringing light into the body. So in other words, everything is light. The body is not light. Spirit is not light in opposition to the body. Everything is light, as a manifestation of light. But if we can maintain both aspects of the light, spirit and matter, at the same time, so rather than the need to dissolve our bodies into light and disappear from the field of matter, we can remain in the field of matter while at the same time bringing light into the body. Bringing light meaning bringing consciousness, bringing full awareness, bringing the primordial consciousness of who we are, what we are, into this physical form. and becoming a holographic reflection of the entire universe operating through one single body or one single planet. So this is what they refer to as supramental transformation, beyond the mental, far, far beyond the rational mind, entering into other levels of the mind, other layers of consciousness, merging them together, merging sky and earth in a way that we can hold that light fully within these structures. So Ramalinga Swami had the experience of merging the physical body into light. And the next phase of this is where the light can dissolve into the body fully. So Rumi expressed this very beautifully. He said that at the first stage, the drop experiences itself as separate from the ocean. The second stage, the drop of water dissolves into the ocean, enters the ocean, becomes one with the ocean. The third stage is when the entire ocean enters through the drop. So at that point, the full manifestation of our creative potential is available within a human body. And this has not been done before. So Ramalinga Swami experienced the transition from physical to light bodies. But now it's time for the light body to be manifested through physical form. And that's the difference. And not just through one individual, but as a collective human evolution, a new species. So thank you for that question. Please, anyone have a question? Let's make this as interactive as possible. Hey, Hermania. So, yeah, we'll get into this more and do some practices with it in our class later today. So, some of you who are here on this line have been participating in that. So, I was going to read something. So this is from the book, The Mutation of Death. When darkness deepens, struggling the earth's breast. When darkness deepens, strangling the earth's breast, and man's corporeal mind is the only lamp. So corporeal mind meaning the mind of the cells. So it's the physical mind which is very different from the thinking mind. And man's corporeal mind is the only lamp. So this is how we are learning to see through the wisdom of the cells. As a thief in the night shall be the covert tread of one who steps unseen into his house. A voice ill heard shall speak, the soul obey. A power into mind's inner chamber steal. A charm and sweetness open life's closed doors, and beauty conquer the resisting world. The truth light capture nature by surprise. The stealth of God compel the heart to bliss, and earth grow unexpectedly divine. In matter shall be lit the spirit's glow, in body and body kindled the sacred birth. A few shall see what none yet understands. God shall grow up while the wise men talk and sleep. It's an amazing image. God shall grow up while the wise men talk and sleep. For man shall not know the coming till its hour, and belief shall be not till the work is done. In other words, we don't know when all this takes place, because it's not something that we can believe in, something that the mind can comprehend or decide or project. It's not happening through the mind, it's happening through the body. There's a wisdom in the body and we can access this wisdom. Um, and once we learn to access this wisdom directly through the body, then we participate in this great work of new creation. So it's a powerful time that we're in, and it's the first time these things are being done. And this is what's creating the new human species. So, many of you are familiar with the theories of evolution, where over millions of years there's natural selection, there's mutation, and old species fall away as new species are birthed. What's happening now is that evolution is becoming a conscious creation. It's not simply through natural selection based on the unconscious mode that Mother Earth has operated through, but a very conscious mode that humans are participating in, and therefore entering a realm of self-awareness, self-consciousness, so we can actually accelerate through our own interaction with Gaia, this journey of evolution. So there's enough of us here on the earth with that purpose, with that mission, with that awareness that's growing, where we can now begin to participate consciously and fully. So this is our task, and it's a huge privilege. What a joy, what a gift, what a pleasure to be here at this time. And what we're creating is something that we can't even conceive of. We talk about joy, we talk about bliss, but do we really know what that means? Because we're operating out of a sense of separation where we divide between what's inside and what's outside, what's me and what's other. I can never really truly experience another directly because there's always the veil of duality in between. But what if that veil was to suddenly just be swept away? What does it mean to truly experience another as the self? Or this, there's no another left. There's no other. It's all the self. What if everything was a reflection of the one self? What would that look like for humanity? What would that look like for a planet? Unconsciously, nature experiences that anyway. The whole web of life is based on this idea of interdependence, of community, of cooperation. Not, as Darwin claimed, the survival of the fittest. No, it's cooperation, it's harmony, it's the living web of life. But because our minds are trapped in this idea of duality, we all, we create a ladder, we create this division, the fittest and the not fittest. So anyway, so I don't want to go off track with this, but we have the opportunity to create an entirely new species, an entirely new experience of being on this planet, and an entirely new planetary consciousness. Rina, hey. So Mahalakshmi, please give me details of the class you mentioned. Thanks for your explanation, made it very clear. Yes, so this class will probably start next month as a webinar. I often travel, and I love teaching when we can be in physical proximity with each other and share that direct mode of exchange of energy. But this year and last year has been a bit strange, as we all know. So we've been doing this series of webinars. So we've almost finished a full year of the webinaring, and I want to start a new cycle, perhaps next month. So depending on where, how many people would like to do this, we can start. And the problem is finding a time that works for everybody, since people participating are from North America with a different time zone, from Europe, from India, from Turkey. So it's like, how do we, from Australia, New Zealand. So either we find one cycle that people can agree to participate together, or we have maybe two groups. We'll see. But if you're interested, please contact me at my email. I'll give you my email address, and just let me know that you're interested, and then we can, communicate and figure it out. So, it's about learning some of these practices from integral yoga, from the Peruvian Inca traditions, from the Egyptian mystery schools, the Ilahinur work that's been coming through when I was living in Turkey, and just supporting each other in this evolutionary task to link up at different levels of the mind, merge them together, unify them so we can become multidimensional. Edith is asking, those of us who have woken up have been through the journey we're experiencing now on a collective planetary level. The same trauma, pains, the same passages and levels. It's not a walk in the park. Okay, those of us who have woken up have been through the journey we're experiencing. Yes. So many of us have been through this on a personal level, and now we're going through this on a collective planetary level. And that's what she's referring to, the same traumas that we've experienced in our own journeys, the fears that come up, the physical birthing pains, the doubts and the confusion that come up. The caterpillar doesn't know what's going to happen when it enters the cocoon. It's a mystery. If it knew beforehand that it's going to become a butterfly, but that would maybe be easier. We don't know either where we're going. All we know is that the old world is falling away. It's dissolving. We can no longer remain at ease in the old world. We're being pushed. We're being, on a soul level, confronted and, what's the word when you, being wrung. It's like, when you're washing clothes and you're wringing the fabric. So, hey Hatsi, hey Monique. So I'm glad everyone is able to find this site. So next week onwards, I'll just do this. So rather than try and pre-schedule it, I'll just turn it on at exactly 9 o'clock European time, and then just come join me. All right, so yeah. So Edith says, not a question, just a comment. And it's an important comment. It's really the biggest question we can imagine. Are we ready for this? But if we understand where we are going, even though we don't know the details, then it allows us to prepare for it more gracefully. Many of us experience the sense of losing our minds or feeling very confused about where we're going, wondering if it's safe even being on this planet, feeling lost and disconnected and lonely and betrayed and all these things that, yes, the caterpillar feels all of that when the old world starts to fall away and there's nothing to be seen in the cocoon except the four walls of the cocoon. Oh, not four walls, but the cocoon, the inside of a cocoon. We've gone through a process for much of this past few months where we've been locked down, and that lockdown is like being inside the cocoon. The old world is falling away. The freedoms that we experienced as normal are no longer real. So what's happening next? Where do we go? What's emerging? Can we trust that process? So these are questions that we do need to ask ourselves personally and collectively. All right, so let's just do a brief meditation, having said all this. Um, so, most of you, I think, have been with me for some time, so you know the Inca practice of opening doorways between the worlds. So, imagine yourself in this cocoon, this bubble of light. And this bubble extends 6 feet out or 2 meters in all directions around the physical body. So it's like a beautiful luminous egg representing what the Incas referred to as the middle world, the normal physical third dimensional reality that we perceive through our five senses, that we understand through the rational mind, that we experience as a personal self. This is the middle world. And now on the very top of this, there's a window. So 2 meters above the top of your head, there's a circular window into the upper world. And just with your intention now, you're opening this window wide as you can. And as soon as you do so, you experience this force of light. It's an electrical flow pouring in from that window like a waterfall, pouring through that entire bubble, through the physical body, through every cell, and down into the earth. And it's an automatic event. You're not trying to do anything. You're not visualizing or forcing or anything. You're just intending for that window to open. And as soon as you do so, it's the nature of the universe to move. It's the living light that pours in. And then there's a natural response from the earth. The difference is that the downward flow is electrical in nature. The upward flow is magnetic, and it's simultaneous. So as you open that window above you, you're experiencing this downward electrical current of light. As it connects with the earth, there's a response, and you feel this magnetic force coming up through every cell of your body and out all the way through the bubble. And this magnetic force is what carries the new codes of life. This force is what informs the DNA within the cells with new possibilities. The deeper down we go into the inconscient, and those of you who have been taking my class know what that means, to enter into the inconscient, you are actually receiving the codes for a new evolution. This is what the Gaia Nur work is about. So there's Ilahi Nur, which is the descent of the supramental light, and then there's Gaia Nur, which is the transformation of the cells. So just allow that to happen for a while. And there's nothing the mind, the rational mind, has to do. It's all about intention. And all you're doing is keeping that window wide open. That's it. And that, in doing so, you're developing a relationship between earth and sky. You're becoming a bridge, a rainbow bridge between dimensions. You become an access point through which the supramental force can flow down into the earth. And then you become a force through which the inconscient can be unveiled, through which new possibilities of evolution can emerge, moving through the subtle body of the earth, through the ley lines, the dragon lines, the various grids of the earth, who is a living conscious being, with the support of all the elemental kingdoms, with the support of every species of life on this planet. We're all here to serve her evolution. and participate in that. And so continue to receive this magnetic force coming up from the earth, up through your cells, activating this cellular mind. Notice what that feels like. Many of you might experience a deep sense of grounding. Your physical body experiences a sense of weight or heaviness as you bring your roots down into the earth. Simultaneously, you might also feel extremely expanded as you connect with the soul body and the soul of the earth. You become multidimensional. The body of light and the physical body start to come closer together. The mind of light and the physical cellular mind start to come closer together. And you remember that the rational mind is only a very, very, very small sliver of consciousness expressing through us. We became genetically weakened when we gave up our sovereignty and fell into duality. And now it's time for us to return to a multidimensionality as a species. So when you're in this state of connectedness between earth and sky, there's a deep stillness, peacefulness, and joy that moves through the cells. It's like a recognition of everything that's real. We're returning to that. So what we're going to do is I'll just let you remain in this state for as long as you wish. Meanwhile, I'll end the stream. I need to prepare for the class we'll be doing in a few minutes. And those of you who are in this chat who are also in the class, we'll just continue onwards. So just a reminder, we'll do this every Saturday at 9 a.m. European time, 10 a.m. Turkish time, 8 a.m. GMT, and translate that to whatever time zone you happen to be in. Also a reminder that Tuesday evenings at 7 p.m. Mountain Time, so this is in the United States, Canada, we have been doing a weekly podcast called Age of Pandora. And this is accessible on Above Duality YouTube channel. So you can just subscribe to that channel, subscribe to my channel also, and then I think that means that you get notices when it's time. Although I haven't figured that out yet for this channel. All right. Oh, someone's asking what class. This is the webinar that's been ongoing. So this is like, we are several months into the teachings of the Inca shamans, the work of Sri Aurobindo and the mother, the Ilahinur and Gayanur work. So it's a series of very practical skills which can assist us in activating what's called the light body, becoming multidimensional, and eventually taking the rainbow body. So, what Mahalakshmi refers to as the person Ramalinga Swami, who is one of the people who learned to access that light body. And there many yogis still within their physical bodies, which have been, of course, buried, still carry a vitality, still carry a vibrational frequency that can be experienced. So, for instance, those of you who've been to Pondicherry at the Samadhi of Sri Aurobindo and the Mother, you actually experience this very, very powerful quality of soul when you're in meditation next to this. And the same thing goes for Ramalinga Swami. I believe he's the one who has a shrine in Arunachala. So, okay, so RD is asking, is info on how to register somewhere online? You can contact Jamie, and that's the email address, jamiefranken@hotmail.com. Sorry, is it Hotmail or Yahoo? Francesca, do you remember Hatsi? Monique? I think it's Yahoo. No, maybe it's Hotmail. Let me check. I don't want to give misleading information. Okay, it is Hotmail. So jamiefranken@hotmail.com. Yeah, thanks, Monique. Yeah, Monique also says the meditation and connection with Gaia gives so much confidence in the process that's unfolding. Yeah. So, hey, Lorna from UK. Thank you, RD. Yeah, Mahalakshmi in Tiruvannamalai. I think that's the Samadhi for Ramalinga Swami, isn't it? Or is that in Chennai? All right, so this is the journey we're on. If anybody is interested to follow up on some of these practices, other than the classes, there's also some books that you might be able to order from Amazon. One is my book called Gaia Luminous. So this is the transformational journey that Gaia is going through as a planetary consciousness. And another with a lot of practices from the Inca tradition is called Homo Luminous. So this is a metaphor for the new species. All right. Check out my website also, kiarawindrider.net. So much of this is on my website also. And also, please check out my blogs that I've been working on. So I'll post them on my Facebook page. And there's also the Age of Pandora group within Facebook. For those of you who've been watching the podcast or are more interested in those concepts, feel free to join that also. Yeah, I'll just write the names. So that's the 2 books. All right, guys. So got to go here. So thanks for joining. Thanks for being here on this earth. Thanks for being part of this global community of light warriors. Blessings. Much love to you. Hey, Alina. All right. So I'm going to end the stream here. Ta-da. Is it working? Okay.